Alright guys, welcome to another technical video in my installment for SyntaxMakers. So if you're not familiar, SyntaxMakers is my side project, a job hunting website dedicated to developer jobs only. So what we have here is the login screen, obviously. And what I wanted to create is I wanted to have a nicer transition between this state right here and then the actual logged in state. I hope you can see that on video, but there's a little bit of an animation that happens when I click that. So that is happening through a pretty simple API called View Transitions API, which is part of the browser API, not part of React. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make use of it and the implementation that I made. All right, so the screen that you saw, or the modal that you saw, is this code right here. So it's a very basic modal, username, or in this case, email, password, some checkbox stuff, and then an error message. So the way that I set this thing up is on the developer screen, which is the main screen that you're seeing right here. So if we log in, we see our data, a search box, and then some info relevant to the user's profile. So this screen has that login control, and all of this code is available for free on my GitHub. I'll leave a link and you can check it out to see the details, but I want to focus on the view transition stuff for this video. So we have our login component, and we're able to toggle it externally, meaning inside of the parent. And we have this function. So this function is one that I created, not the API, for what happens when you toggle open and close that modal window. So this function is targeting the start view transition function, which is part of the view transition API, which is inside of the document object, the regular browser document object. And what I'm doing is, because I need to do a check to make sure that it's available, currently I believe it is not available on Safari, but it is available on Chrome and Edge. So I am checking that it exists, and then if it does, then I run whatever I need to run, and if it doesn't, then I won't run it. Now in this case, should have added that. So this means if the transition isn't there, then there is not going to be any transition at all, and we're just going to run the callback directly. But if the transition capability is there, then we're going to do the transition and we're going to run whatever it is that we need to run as a callback. Now, flush sync means that, so if you know React, you know that everything is happening asynchronously based on data changes, right? So by using flush sync, you are forcing those changes to become synchronous. And therefore, the transition can work without any weird hiccups or stutters. So in order to make this available via TypeScript, I also needed to add this in here. So this type roots configuration is pointing to where I have the d.ts TypeScript definition files. So you have, if you use a package, there's always going to be, if it's a TypeScript package, there's going to be an extra file in there that is exposed that gives the definitions of the various types that are available. So I'm creating that system by enabling this. And then my file goes to the document object itself. And then here we have the function start view transition. Now, I don't normally like using any, but in this case, the start view transition has a pretty involved API service in terms of the return type. And because I'm not using that type and I didn't want to deal with all of the manual labor of defining that out in this type definition, I just put any in this case. But normally I try to avoid that. So anyway, we have our transition and then we can kick it off. So we have our callback. I'm wrapping my actual function in a callback because my callback is agnostic and therefore doesn't have any parameters. But the specific call may, so that's why I wrap it in a different callback. And then in this case, I am just toggling, as you can see by the exclamation. So this is going to enable the button for the primary button. So when I on-click on it, it's going to toggle. So that's going to take care of that initial login animation. And then the secondary animation is to log out or bring back the modal, right? Or zoom back in the modal. So then we have prevent default. So don't allow anything like a submit call to happen. And then we have our function again, which will trigger the animation. And let me just show it to you once again. So I'm logged in. So I log out. If I log in again, you should see the animation again. So that was it for the course. If you liked the video and subscribe. And if you need more in-depth videos on React or Rust, I have some courses on Udemy. And that was it.